Welcome all guests. I'm Councillor Darren McDougall, the newly minted Chair of Planning, Development and Heritage Committee. So welcome to you all for attending, and I'm reading from a prepared document here from my good friend Kevin, who had no faith in me at all to come up here and figure it out myself. So if you want to comment formally on anything from tonight's meeting, the town will accept written responses provided directly to the Planning Department by email or in writing until Thursday, June 29th, 2022. And please...
Should be Wednesday, sorry.
Should be Wednesday, June 29th? Okay. Please note that comments provided on any social media platform are not captured as part of the written submission process. Questions this evening will be monitored and submitted to be read into the record and answered. To ask a question, please use the comment field on either YouTube or Facebook where you are viewing the live stream. As this is a public meeting, you are required to provide your name and address when asking a question, and I will now turn this over to our Director of Planning, Kevin. Go ahead.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll just read a little bit of details of what we're here for this evening. So this is a special permit use. So the Planning Department received an application from the Grey Group, Concord Properties, Inc., to develop a commercial service center on a portion of parcel number 328039, approximately 2.21 acres, located on the corner of the Trans-Canada Highway and Jubilee Drive. The property is located within the town center core area and is zoned Town Center Commercial Zone, TCC. The development proposal includes a 185 square meter or 2,000 square foot convenience store / retail gasoline outlet, an additional 2,200 square foot adjoined commercial space with a drive-through, and an additional future 3,000 square foot freestanding commercial building with a proposed double lane drive-through. In accordance with the Town of Stratford Zoning Development Bylaw, Section 13.4.3, this application is considered a special permit use, and therefore Council shall ensure that property owners within 200 feet of the subject property are notified in writing and asked to provide their comments. And those letters have been sent out. To ensure that people were aware of the meeting, we did direct mail to property owners within 200 feet. It's also been posted on the town's website and social media platforms such as Facebook and Twitter.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Now we will ask for a presentation from the developer, Concord Properties. Is that you, Trevor McLeod? Okay.
Slide advancer there if you want, or I can just do it on my computer, whichever works.
Either way is fine with me. It's going to be a fairly short presentation, so thanks for everybody for coming out, Council, Mayor, and Planning Department. So just quickly, this development on the corner will be part of our overall Crossroads development plan that we came up with over the last 3 years. I've been working through the zoning with the town on that. So in particular, this corner, Yep.
Oh, good.
So just for some history, we've engaged a number of professionals in their respective areas when we're dealing with the overall plan and this site in particular. So just to list a few, with our urban core plan, we engaged Fathom Studios and Rob LeBlanc to come up with the urban core plan and some of the zoning with respect to that. The first thing we did before we did our urban core plan was engage CBCL engineers to do a wetland delineation plan for the entire Stratford area that we own. Subsequent to that, we engaged again, and it doesn't say here, but Fathom Studios to conduct an urban core traffic plan for us that dealt with this corner as well. Further to that, we did a geotechnical evaluation with East Tech Engineering and Consulting. So some of you may have seen some of the earthwork that was happening on that site. And regardless of what end use is on that site, this geotechnical work had to have taken place in order to construct buildings on the site. The site plan design was conducted by Sutherland Design out of Nova Scotia. So Larry Sutherland is probably the most experienced site plan designer with respect to QSR and service stations in Atlantic Canada. He's had a hand in most municipalities and cities, done hundreds of them, and comes highly recommended. From our architectural design standpoint, we use Archwork Studios, who are designing the property and the building. From a civil engineering standpoint, with respect to the water and sewer, the road works, we're using SCL Engineering, and that's Chad McCollum who's doing that. We've also engaged on an overall plan, Group ATN Consulting that have done an economic impact study, and engaged Turner Drake and Partners with who are reviewing the current situation with respect to commercial space in Stratford and then the need for more based on the growth and development of Stratford. So we also have a representative from Mel's here who's engaged their own professionals to conduct a market review regarding fuel supply and the necessity for fuel service in Stratford. They've made that application, have been successful with their application to IRAC. So this really represents the last stage in order to move this development forward. So this is an early rendering of what we can expect the building to look like. There's going to be some changes to the final look, but as you can see, it's not just a plain concrete box. It is going to have some design elements to it that fit within what we want to see as a development in Stratford, and kind of set the tone for the overall development where we see moving forward. Again, an early rendering, but from an overall standpoint, this is kind of what you're going to see in the broad scheme of things from a site plan standpoint. We do have some properly engineered drawings, but this kind of gives you a visual representation of how things are going to lay out. Again, this is one of the designs that we have. We have some more detailed engineered drawings in the next slide, but essentially the C-store, which would be Mel's, will occupy, I believe in this case, about 2,400 square feet. QSR in Building 1 would represent about 1,800 square feet. And then we have a 3,000 square foot freestanding QSR on the corner. And as you can see from a queuing standpoint for drive-throughs, there's ample space and circulation within the premises, within the property. Access and egress, we're going to be extending Shakespeare Drive past the property to the north. That will allow for separate access and egress to the property. Again, this is just more of an engineering perspective on how the traffic flow and circulation is going to work, how groundwater is going to work, and how the stormwater and civil services will work on that site. And again, this is just an excerpt from our traffic study plan, which really indicates that current capacity for that intersection is being less than 50% utilized right now. We provided our drawings to the traffic engineer based on our growth plans, and they feel with full confidence that the intersection as it stands now has more than enough capacity to handle the traffic being generated by our development. Again, this is about, I'm certainly no expert in traffic studies, but I tend to believe them when they tell me that things will work out just fine. And really, that's kind of it. It's just a conclusion is that it's a good levels of service for that intersection. Everything will be monitored, and everything has been submitted for preliminary input and approval from the province. We've had no negative feedback to date. So everything we've been led to believe is positive responses, and we look forward to moving forward with this development. That's just about it for us.
Great, thanks for that, Trevor.
And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them, or try to.
Any questions from the floor? What about, yeah, just hang tight there, we'll see.
Sure,
what we got.
absolutely.
I just had one. Thanks very much for that, Trevor.
Thank you.
My name's Steve Ogden. I'm Mayor of Stratford. I was wondering about tractor trailers. I know that tractor trailers in the current establishment there is a bit of a, not an issue, but it's something. I'm just wondering about the capacity for handling, tractor trailer, 18-wheelers and large vehicles.
Absolutely, and so if you notice, and I'll go actually to the screen here, we've allowed for tractor trailer access and delivery here and circulation that will deliver to this property as well, and this is a loading zone as well, but circulation for tractor trailers in and around here, which would include deliveries, snow removal, it would also include garbage removal trucks. So we've provided for that circulation in around here and for the loading and unloading here. They wouldn't have necessarily 53-foot tractor trailers coming in, but that has been accounted for in the design of the site.
Thanks.
Yeah. Hi, Trevor. Steve Glenn, Councillor, Chair of Recreation in Town of Stratford. Just concerned with the trails in behind.
Mm-hmm.
The product. I say your traffic flows looks great. Everything else.
Absolutely.
What's the direction there?
Of
the trail in behind.
Okay, so right now, that trail is running through the Concord property. But what we would be doing is continuing the active transportation trail on the north side of the Shakespeare extension. So that would be a continuation of the existing trail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's great.
Hi, Trevor. Oh, they're taller than I am. Come down a little. I'm Michelle Beaton. I'm
Hi,
a
Michelle.
Mermaid Stratford. So I'm curious, is that going to turn into their Jubilee and Shakespeare? Does that turn into a T intersection with a stop sign?
The long-term plans are that Jubilee would be extending through, and unfortunately I don't have a slide here for our overall development plan, but our overall development plan for the future would extend Jubilee Drive up through Williams Gate with a connection to a future entrance to the community campus on Mason Road.
Okay, good to know. And I did arrive 5 minutes late, so I was just wondering, can you tell me, I heard it smells, and in that first building, so is there anything else going in besides the gas station and Mel's in that location?
We do have 2 QSRs, which are quick service restaurants. I'm not at liberty to say who they are at this point based on confidentiality agreements, but they are being purposely designed for those tenants. So in the C-store, Mel's building, there would be an 1,800 square foot QSR restaurant and a 3,000 square foot out on the corner.
Okay. And then my final question.
Sure.
Sorry. So I see some drive-through traffic in there. So
Mhm.
is the intent that the drive-throughs will then come out at the front of the store? Or would they be going up behind both of the buildings onto Shakespeare and exiting from there? I'm just wondering what's the exit point for those drive-throughs?
Well, I mean, I think it's part of it's going to be your own personal choice, but there is 2 exits on Shakespeare, on this proposed Shakespeare extension. One of the things that hasn't been confirmed, but there is talk that they might extend that center island to allow only for right-outs on Jubilee from our site. That's some preliminary discussion. But yes, they can. At this point, they would be able to exit directly across from the existing Petro-Canada, or on the new proposed extension on Shakespeare, and the Shakespeare extension would be required as part of this development. Yeah.
Just because I think that that's the more natural place to have them come back out right to get into traffic instead of trying to get out onto Jubilee.
Yes.
It would be the more natural flow. Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Nothing?
Still nothing public from online.
Okay. Do we give that a little bit of time, Kevin, or
You can
what?
go through the next steps there.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right.
If there's any questions at the end.
So written comments will be received until Wednesday, June 29th, 2022 at noon. And Planning Board for discussion and recommendation to Council, that'll be July 4th, 2022. And a decision will be made July 13th at our council meeting, July 13th, 2022. That's it for us. I'd like to thank the Gray Group for coming out tonight and making that presentation. Thank you, Michelle Beaton, for attending here tonight, and Steve Ogden, Jeremy Crosby, Steve Gallant, our counselor. Mike Tweel representing the Gray Group, and you're Jeff from Mel's.
That's right.
Yeah. So thanks, guys.
you.
Is there anything, Trevor, you'd like to say before we close out the meeting here?
I don't think so. Thanks again for everybody for coming out. We're excited because this is the, really the first step of what's the Crossroads is going to become in our mind, and we look forward to working with the town on that.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Trevor.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys.